call the August 20th Plan Commission meeting to order. Can we have a roll call, please, Meredith?
Yes, Jason Carnahan.
Here.
Bill Hartman. Bill Van Wy.
Present.
Sandy Harrison.
Here.
Jerry Yoder.
Here.
Frank Palver.
Here.
Suzanne Davis.
Here.
Angie Holt.
Here.
Tyler Lanning.
Here.
Alicia Rogers.
Here.
Mike McCarowicz. Andrew Cruz.
Here.
Chris Gallmer. Meredith Wright here.
Okay, we will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Now have a moment if someone would like to lead us in a word of prayer.
Bow our heads. Father God, we just come to you just now, Lord, in this Plan Commission meeting, Lord, and we invite you in to give us clarity. We want to make decisions for you and for your kingdom and for the residents of this county. And Lord, we just want to praise you, and we just can't wait to see what you have for this great county. Father, in Jesus' name, amen.
Should have all received the minutes from the previous meeting, or I guess from the June meeting. If there's no additions or corrections, would entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I will second.
Motion and a second to approve the minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Minutes are approved. Also, the claims from June and July were in there to review. Same, if there's no questions or corrections, entertain a motion to approve.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the claims from June and July. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Okay, claims are approved. No old business, correct, Chris?
Yes, or correct.
So new business is a new Butler ETJ agreement.
So Butler is currently in the process of rewriting their comprehensive plan, and Indiana code requires that when a new comprehensive plan is written or a rewrite is happening, an interlocal agreement between the municipalities and the county is required. We have an interlocal agreement with Auburn, Garrett, Waterloo. Butler currently has an ETJ. There's just no agreement as far as kind of spelling out the facts of who does what for that. And also, there's no vote on this today. We're just looking at this. Butler will be reviewing theirs, I believe, at the next Plan Commission meeting. It does require a public hearing from the city of Butler. For ours, it's just basically relinquishing zoning authority from county to Butler. Again, currently there already is an ETJ, so it's already done, but it's just having the interlocal agreement in place. Most of you, I believe, have seen the ones between Auburn, Garrett, and Waterloo. Those have been done over the last probably 5 or 6 years. This language is very similar, almost exact. The parts that are highlighted in yellow are parts that the city of Butler mayor and city planner need to review to see if that's something that they want to do. For instance, I believe for Garrett, sewer hookup is required for annexation only, so they will not do sewer hookup outside of their municipal limits. So that, for instance, is taken out. But for Auburn, obviously they have Bear Creek, Diamond Lake Estates, those sort of things that are part of their sewer that is outside of their jurisdiction. So they do require hookup. So that's why that's highlighted. On page 4, it's just, those are the standards that we have used for the city of Butler, city of Auburn, Garrett, and Waterloo for the street, sidewalk, and cul-de-sacs. Those are per an Exhibit B on page 12. I doubt those will be changing, but again, just highlighted for them to review with their street department. And then addressing is just highlighted so they are aware of what the addressing requirements are for the county. Currently already practice this, but again, it's just putting it in writing as to who does what. On page 5, again, it's all similar information as to what they do now, just highlighting what it is, for instance, their Board of Zoning Appeals, hearing officer, or what type of requests are allowed to go before the Board of Zoning Appeals and the ETJ. So again, we're not looking to approve this today. They are looking at extending the map or the boundaries of the ETJ. Those are in your packets on 2 separate maps. Hopefully you printed them. If you printed them back to back, you're going to be doing a lot of flipping. If you printed it one-sided like I did, and I did for Angie, because I'm a nice guy, you will you can put them side by side. Currently, the city of Butler practices extraterritorial jurisdiction up to County Road 24, over to County Road 28. Their south boundaries of County Road 32 or West South Shore Drive ends at their town limits, but extends to those over to County Road 28, and then over to County Road 63, and does kind of some little jog up to matching where their town limits are, and then over to County Road, sorry, but that's just a boundary, over to County Road 61 and follows the boundary north to 24. They are looking to kind of square that off. Would allow them to practice extraterritorial jurisdiction, planning and zoning for areas that they may want to annex in the future. As we've talked in the past, ETJs are more so used by municipalities for areas that they would wish to annex, so that when development happens within the ETJ, it matches what their zoning is. So, for instance, we wouldn't, if we would do a subdivision within their boundaries, our ordinance requires them to be, depending on the zoning, anywhere from 15,000 square feet, I believe, up to 2 acres. So if it's considered agricultural, as you guys know, we require 2 acres for agricultural. If they would annex that, it wouldn't match any of their their zoning districts as far as subdivision lot size. Wouldn't probably meet their setback requirements as well. So it's more used and geared towards when they're ready to annex those properties. Go ahead.
On the boundary of 24, is that just the south side?
The boundary of 24 is the north. Oh, yes, sorry, just the south side of 24.
Just the south side,
Yep,
okay.
Yep, south side of 24. Yep.
That's already the ETJ.
And that's already ETJ, yes. So on your maps, if you want to look at the one that has the red boundary to the south, that's the new proposed ETJ expansion. The gray area doesn't have a boundary of red is the existing ETJ. So kind of up for discussion today, Andrew Provines, the city planner from Butler, is here as well to answer questions that you have. And Andrew, feel free to jump in if you've got anything additional you want to say about the ETJ. Again, it would be just formalizing what we currently practice with the city of Butler. The proposed expansion is the only thing that would really be quote-unquote changing.
I'm here if you have questions. This comes out of a comprehensive plan that's been trying to get passed for like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
It's been through 2 city planners, and it has not been passed.
You're the third.
I'm the third.
Yeah.
I'm the third city planner, and we're actually going to do it this time. As far as the ETJ, that was actually not something that I put together. This is actually was presented years ago by the previous city planner. And it kind of squares off. We're obviously not looking to go further west. That's a very small segment of city property right there, or city included jurisdiction. It's not like we want to go further there. We want to go further south though, because that is a pretty large section that meets that boundary. So it's kind of squared up with the top side. Couple things to note. We don't currently have really a plan to do anything with this. Chris had mentioned annexation. We actually are not looking to annex anything right now. We're looking to finalize this comprehensive plan, finalize our ETJ, and get a formal agreement in place. I call Chris often and I say, who's supposed to take care of this in the ETJ? Because there is no written procedure, or this is our responsibility, this is the county's responsibility. So it's like, hey, Chris, want to do the addresses for me? Or should I be doing those? Hey, Chris, want to do this? Or should I be doing those? Because we don't know. There's just not a good layout of here's what is within our jurisdiction and what is not, so.
And to clarify that, what I was meaning about the annexation isn't immediate annexation. It's over the course of 10, 15, 20 years. So, yeah, as long as your comprehensive plan would be.
Yep. And it is required by the
life.
comprehensive plan.
Yeah.
And that is something we really would like to get passed in the next couple months.
Yeah.
It's been sitting out there, like I said, for like 4 or 5 years.
And as you guys are aware too, especially when we just discussed St. Joe's ETJ, Indiana code only required prior to 2019, I believe, Andrew, if that's the date I want to use, or 2009. Either 2009 or 2019. Anyway, Indiana code only required municipalities to have an ETJ boundary in their comprehensive plan to be able to practice planning and zoning. The county had no say whether or not up to 2 miles outside of their jurisdiction, if they would be allowed to do that or not. Indiana code automatically allowed it. Now with the interlocal agreement, the county has a little bit more control over areas and what's within the actual agreement itself. So,
And our last comprehensive plan was 2001.
yeah, so, and it had the existing boundary in there. So.
Yes. But based on the document, and obviously this is all up for discussion, so if you guys have any issues with this, feel free to bring them up. The more you take away from me, the less I have to deal with. And like Chris said, I didn't want a vote today. I want to get it in front of you guys so you have plenty of time to review.
Yep.
There is not a rush. It's been many years. We're going to take it through Plan Commission. We still have some more things to review on the comprehensive plan. We're making some adjustments. Something that was not included in that in general before was a future land use map. So that's something we're putting in as well. You know, these are the areas that we would like to see this type of development. So that's something we're putting in as well because it just wasn't there. We called it out in text in the narrative of the comprehensive plan, but it was never included as a map so people could easily see it. So we're trying to clarify some of those things and make it easier for people to actually read through.
Is there some growth out to your south there? That's looking.
There's not a lot of growth currently. The only real growth right there would have been, and it was actually approved in 2022, is a parking area on a field. Trying to remember the exact address, but Jared, do you remember the exact address of that? That's across from your guys's. H&W Transport, it had been approved in 2022 and they had never done anything with it. But it's basically for storing travel trailers before they're taken somewhere.
They put down gravel.
They've got a big pile there to spread and put down a parking lot. They just haven't finalized that yet. Yep. And that was actually in the last few months. But as far as, we don't really have any large new development. Forest River is down around that area, and they would like to, they had bought up a chunk and we're gonna put up a whole new facility basically. They have not done that because of the downturn in the economy and the demand. They still would like to do that at some point, but currently it's not, hey, we're gonna do this in the next few months or anything. It's like, yeah, we'd love to do this sometime in the next, 4 to 5 years.
On this here, are those blue lines property lines?
Correct, yep.
Yeah, property lines.
Yep.
why he's asking. I see there's some very small ones. There's why he's asking for the growth.
Andrew, I assume that by expanding the ETJ, it'll also expand the area that the city will be taking care of the building permits and.
We actually don't take care of any of our building permits currently. The city is small enough and we have a small enough number of permits each year that it is not advantageous for us to retain our own building inspector. So we put in we put in an improvement location permit. We give that to them. They come to the county gives them a building permit, then does the inspection, and each year we pay the county for those inspections as part of an agreement. And we actually recently did the same thing with the county's permitting software because it wasn't advantageous for us to get our own permitting software. It was cost prohibitive because of our size. So we actually rely on the county for that as well now. The county has, in my opinion, has really good processes. You guys, the zoning administrator, staff, et cetera, have done a really good job at putting together processes. So I often run into scenarios where, as I'm looking for a procedure, I can't find a good example of a procedure. So I rely on the county. We take your guys' procedure, morph it a little bit so it fits our needs. And we're really trying to kind of align with how the county does zoning.
So you basically approve of the location and what's going on, but it actually, the actual inspection of the building itself and is run through the county then?
Right.
Yep.
Well, does this come in front of us, or does they approve the site and we do the inspection?
Exactly. They approve the site where the building would be going.
And we have our own,
whatever it would be,
we have our own plan commission and everything. So, if we need to go through a development plan, et cetera, we take that through our own plan commission and give final authorization.
Does this follow the same code as the county does?
For what?
For this, as far as their planning and everything?
Oh, we have our own.
No, they have their own.
We have our own
Okay.
zoning ordinance.
Yep.
But once again, on a number of areas there, in my opinion, our zoning ordinance is actually pretty good. Spells things out. We're making a number of changes now to update things that were historical out there that kind of didn't make sense, or even building materials. I think there was a section in it that allowed asbestos materials. So some of those things we're trying to update and get those removed. But each time we do that revision, our source of let's go here first is the county's ordinance. Let's see what the county is doing, and then let's try to take that and make it work for us, or see if it needs any changes.
More questions for Mr. Provines?
One more. How many acres is the new ETJ will
Figure
involve?
it out real quick.
Yeah, I was going to say I haven't done the exact calculation on that.
So it's,
If Chris wants to on his computer here.
what's it, 5 miles and,
5 miles, no.
No.
well, 71.
Can't do more than 2 miles outside of the.
Well, okay, I'm
jurisdiction.
71.
we can't
I was
go
looking
further
at
than
kind
2
of
hours.
71, 61. I don't know what I was thinking. Yeah.
I also intend, obviously, before we move forward with this, we'll have discussions in our own plan commission, but this will come back to you guys, for a recommendation. Like I said, we wanted to get this in front of you so you had plenty of time to review it. And if, think about it before the next plan commission meeting where we'll be coming to get an actual, recommendation or no recommendation or.
About 970 acres total for the new area.
Yeah, but it is, what I meant is it's 5 miles.
Oh, the length?
Length from east to west, and then it looks like just a mile, part of it's just a mile.
That's about 2.5 east to west and half a mile north to south on the southern border. and a mile on the L. Yeah, half mile between roads.
I'm just going off the roads, you know.
Yeah,
Every road's supposed to be a mile,
Half miles.
mile. These city people's trying to jump. I've had enough of that this week.
I don't think Suzanne's a city person. She's a country girl.
Almost got thrown out of the courthouse when arguing with city people.
I'm both.
Well, everybody in the courthouse heard me.
Are there any other questions or concerns about what we have, what's been proposed as far as the expansion? The expansion's been, like Andrew said, we've been looking at doing this actually. Steve Bingham was the planner, and then when he retired, Vivian and I discussed this, and it just never finally got on board. This for when the conversation is finished. So when that will get adopted, we would like this to mirror when that approval is, or be shortly after. That way we can.
And then Chris, and maybe Andrew, both of you could answer this. By the time this is approved and then recorded and they've got the ETJ, will Butler's Plan Commission, what will be, on the day that it's approved, what will be the zoning in this area?
So that will be.
Are zoning still grandfathered in,
No.
or will they already have
No,
new
so
zoning
they'll
districts
have
by then?
they'll have to do a public hearing for this with
Prior
the
to
Plan
getting it
Commission.
implemented.
And then, correct, and then the Plan Commission would make the recommendation to the city
Right,
council.
so they have-
City council would then, so the zoning could be part of this interlocal agreement. Problem is that when it changes, the zone map is irrelevant. But we would have to create a zoning map for the newly proposed boundary. And then that would have to go through the proper channels through Plan Commission, City Council.
And I'm actually glad that you brought that up.
Yeah,
we
because you
ha-
could have this implemented and in place and then wait 3 or 4 months for the zoning process to go.
Right,
and there's no zoning in
this may get slightly delayed just based on that. Something I'd like to do is talk to some of the landowners that are, well, all the landowners that are in this. So we have ETJ ag right now. So we have ag that is meant for our ETJ district. It's rare that we go outside of that for our ETJ. We do have like high industrial within our ETJ that we've said, okay, this was industrial. We're bringing it in as heavy industrial for us. Our ag is slightly more restrictive than the counties, which I don't want to bring in new property that's coming in through an ETJ at more restriction than it currently has. I don't think that's fair to landowners. So something I've been discussing with Chris is the ability to find out a way. What I would like to do is say, in this ETJ, if you're coming in as ag, there are a set of historical uses that allow you to do exactly what the county allows you to do today, up until the point at which the land is sold, sold to another entity. So if, let's say that you wanted to do something with your land, but our new ETJ doesn't allow it, one of two things will happen. I'd either like to change our ag so it does allow the same thing as the county, which I don't think that's feasible because the county has A1, A2, A3. We just have one ag designation. And I don't want to change that across the board because the other parts of the ETJ have been there since 2001. What I would rather do is say, as this comes in, we're going to make an amendment to our ag district. And if you own the land when this went into place and you continue to own the land, you are allowed to use the historical uses. If you sell off to another party, that's with the understanding that the ETJ, our normal ag, is in place for restriction. So that's something I'm actually looking at doing with Chris so that we can not hinder anyone to what they can currently do with their land.
What kind of restriction are you going to put on it?
I would have to literally pull up both side by side. Our uses are just slightly less than the county's uses. The counties are more replete, and that's across the board. This is one of those things where the county has actually accounted for many more uses than we have. And it would just be a process of a variance if it were, or an accepted use case. They could go for that to our hearings officer. But I would rather just call them out specifically. Put everything the county has in those accepted uses into the historical uses. That way, there's no question, yes, this is a use by right, as long as you own this land before the ETJ went into effect.
So I pulled up Butler's ordinance real quick, and really the only thing that's not allowed is, yeah, how did it go away from me? What do you consider a CAFO? Confined feeding operations above IDEM regulations. So you could still have raising of farm animals, agricultural crop production, storage of products, tree farm, plant nursery, single-family manufactured homes, farmstead, orchards, stables. Those things are all currently in our ordinance as well. The only thing that's not in there is confined feeding operations that are above IDEM regulations. So those could go through a use variance through the BZA if they wanted to. If someone wanted to come in and actually do a confined feeding operation with IDEM regulations, they could go through the Board of Zoning Appeals and do a use variance. It's not like it's not allowed at all, it just has to go through a
But there could also be other scenarios where if they wanted to rezone to residential, then if they rezoned inside that ETJ, our residential may be more restrictive than the county's as well.
Correct.
I want to account for those scenarios. If you've already owned the land and these are what you were allowed to do, I don't think it's fair for us to say now you can't do them. So those are, I've never actually seen that done around, but discussions with Chris, I think we can actually do that, and I think it would be fair to the citizens that are.
Yeah, you could do that. It would just have to be done through some sort of commitment that runs with the property, so title companies can search for that. I was talking to Andrew, the hard thing is then the city planner becomes, when property get transferred, police, right? Like he's gonna have to figure out, or someone, whoever has his job is gonna have to figure out when properties transfer, what's then allowed. So if title companies can find that on a title search, then they know, and they can let potential buyers know, hey, this confined feeding operation or whatever it is won't be allowed once this transfers hands. Is that what you're wanting to do, or whatever it was?
That would just be in the covenants.
Correct. It would be a covenant that gets recorded.
And it's extra work, but
Yeah.
I think that something along those lines would be more fair to everybody involved.
Well, it could be too that for new buyers, all they're gonna see is the Butler Act.
Right.
For their zoning.
Right, and that would be
Buyers are
true.
gonna know we can't do certain things, they'll be on notice of it.
If the
'Cause it's in there, it'll be in
realtor, if the realtor lets them know what the zoning is.
Right.
We get that a lot, where someone comes in and says, oh, my property is zoned residential and it's zoned agricultural. Aren't we told that all the time, Meredith?
Okay.
My property is zoned residential because that's what my realtor told me. Well, it's actually zoned agricultural. How it's assessed is not how the property is zoned. Assessment is based off of how property is used. So,
I'm just saying, if they looked at the zoning, they wouldn't think they'd be able to get away with
I would say-
historical uses just by
I would
looking
say
at the new zoning.
90% of people buying properties don't look at the zoning.
Chris and I were having this same conversation. What's the best way to make people doing research aware
Yeah.
of what is and isn't allowed?
And the only way to do that really is to have it recorded with the property.
To make it-
Ideally, someone would read the ordinance and say, here's what I can and can't do.
Oh, I'd love it if people did that.
Yeah, but it doesn't always happen, so.
Right, it's a few sophisticated
Yeah.
buyers that would do that, and the
Correct.
rest don't know to do that, yep.
I like it when they call the city planner and say, hey, I'm thinking about buying this property, what can I do? Here's what you can do.
Yeah, right. That's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Any more for Andrew?
All right, if you guys have any more questions, let me know.
Public has anything to say?
Does anyone in the public wish to comment on this? I guess it's not really a petition, but on this item?
Lynn Reinhardt, 4224 County Road 71. And I guess this kind of came to my attention in recent light of what had transpired in St. Joe and worked with their ETJ. So I was just curious, and I guess I found out a little bit this morning that the city of Butler will have a hearing. I don't know if that means the property owners will individually be notified so to make sure that they're aware of it or not, or if that's just a general public notice. Seems like that those involved should have a notice the same as a neighbor would on a zoning change or something. So I don't know if you know anything about what those requirements are or aren't, and I understand that that has to do with the city more so than you. But you will ultimately making the final decision on if you approve it or not. It doesn't sound like you will have a public hearing. I think that should be allowed those people that are part of DeKalb County, part of the zoning jurisdiction of DeKalb County Planning Commission, before you make the change to turn their properties over to the city of Butler. I guess that's my only comment. Doesn't directly affect me. I don't have any property that would fall within it, but.
Yeah, so the city of Butler would have their own process for changing the zoning. So we can't dictate what they do or how it's done. So I'll leave it up to Andrew to comment on that if he wants.
I wasn't talking of zoning per se. I'm talking about the expansion of their ETJ, which would give them zoning authority ultimately.
Correct. And so
Talking about the process to get there.
correct. Public hearings are required for the change in zoning. Public hearings are not required for interlocal agreements. So the zoning change for Butler, changing it from a county designation to a city designation, would be done through the city of Butler. The interlocal agreement is not required to have a public hearing. It's a public meeting, gets voted on as a recommendation from the Plan Commission to the county commissioners, but that is not required to have a public hearing. It's just required to have a public meeting. So we would do it similar to as we would do contracts, really, between us and anyone else. So.
Chris, I think one thing that Lynn may be asking too is, and I don't know, without researching it, I don't know what the rule is on that, and maybe Andrew know, but he may not know either. If when like St. Joe or Garrett or Auburn or Butler does an ETJ, as far as I know, there's no requirement that they send out a written notice to all of the landowners, and you're saying it might be nice if that was in the law for that. I don't know if it is or isn't.
It is not.
Yeah,
So
I don't
the
think
creation
it
of the creation of the ETJ in current Indiana code does not
Just an
require
interlocal
that.
agreement, and it
Correct.
doesn't require all the landowners, and I think that's what you were asking.
That was part of it, yes.
But the zoning does, but
Zoning change
zoning
requires
change-
a public hearing,
the way people would get notified is when the zoning changes. Right.
but the ETJ sort of just happens through the comprehensive plan process more than individualized notice, I
Right.
think.
Right.
I guess I would just ask as it goes forward that you, as members of the Plan Commission, consider each one of the individual property owners, and I don't know how many that will affect in that area, and not just look at what the city of Butler is asking for. So I think that's your responsibility of appointed or elected officials for DeKalb County. Thank you.
Ain't our hands kind of tied? If they want to, move on, they're allowed to do it by the state statute, ain't they?
So with the current ETJ area, yes, they could continue practicing their ETJ and really not even update their comprehensive plan. The law changed in, again, I think 2009 or 2019, I can't remember what date it was, but that requires when a comprehensive plan is rewritten or updated, that the interlocal agreement is required with the county. So the interlocal agreement, the verbiage is required, but they can still practice the ETJ. The expansion is kind of what is triggering this as well.
Right, thank you.
That answers your question.
Well, it just makes it more foggy,
Well, you can thank
think-
your state legislators for fogginess.
Bill, are you trying to say that can the county say no to it? Is that kind of
that's
what you're
what I-
asking?
that's
Or
what-
no to part of it, yes to part of it, no to part of it?
Well, we can't, I mean, if they want, according to what I understood, that if they want to expand it out there, there's basically,
We can do.
nothing we can do, right?
The county could not pass the interlocal agreement. And if not passing the interlocal agreement, they could still practice in their current ETJ.
We could negotiate, theoretically, if you wanted to negotiate their expansion
Right.
area, that could be done.
Yes to these 4 blocks, no to that
Right,
block.
before
and
we
try to
passed
negotiate
it,
back and forth.
before we agreed to the interlocal agreement, we could negotiate theoretically on
I
that
was just
size.
curious, I'm not.
The expansion.
Yeah. I think that the code is better now than it was, meaning that the county has negotiating rights with the ETJ, with a new ETJ. Before, they could just go up to 2 miles outside of their jurisdiction if it was in their comprehensive plan. And the county had no say in it.
Well, that's why I asked, is that's what happened up to Ashley, because they were gonna take their EDJ and go around Clinks, because he didn't wanna be involved in it, and then they, they got threatened, Ashley kind of backed away, because they got threatened in the lawsuit, if you're not gonna take Clink in it, why are we taking this 500 acres outside of it? And now, I don't know what the process is now that he's passed away, but, I mean, that was part of the deal. They give a lot of money to Ashley.
I'm not familiar with the Ashley stuff there.
No, I'm not saying you are, but that's just what happened here, probably 10 years ago. It was still your dad.
Before my time then, yeah.
Your dad was still our attorney.
Yeah.
And they all of a sudden dropped it. Of course, it didn't help any of the two of the guys really pushing it passed away. So the curse of Ashley carries on.
The curse of Ashley.
Remember the Ashley Parade, 11 o'clock this Saturday.
Any other questions or comments on that ETJ boundary? If not, I'll just work with the city of Butler and get this tightened up and bring it back, I would assume, sometime before the end of the year.
No more new business, Chris?
Nope.
Do you have an update on the comprehensive plan?
I do. Tonight is the Corona open house, if anyone is interested in coming. It's going to be at the park there on Michigan Street, I believe, under the pavilion. HWC will be here. We have a stakeholder meeting today from noon to 1:30, and then the Town of Corona open house from 4 to 5. And then we have on September, there it is, 18th, I believe it's from 6 to 7 is going to be the Big Ideas open house. We're going to be sharing the proposed visions and goals and objectives that we've gathered over the last few months. The stakeholder committee's been kind of reviewing those over the last, I believe, week is when they sent them out. We're going to be discussing them today and then getting those updated and hold that Big Ideas open house on the 18th of September. So that's kind of that update for now.
What time did you say on the 18th?
The 18th will be from 6 to 7. We'll have stuff set up probably by 5, I would assume.
It's in here, right?
Yeah, sorry, it's in the rotunda of the courthouse. We're gonna do about a 15-minute presentation at 6, 10 to 15-minute presentation at 6, and then give people the opportunity to go to the various boards and offer input. So, yep, that's in the rotunda of the courthouse. Thanks for that reminder. And we'll see all of you at Corona tonight.
What time was that again?
4 o'clock. What time you want it to be?
Afternoon.
Huh?
Right in the middle of the afternoon.
Well, just put your cows away and they'll be fine. Or bring them.
Do we have any updates and reports from cities and towns meetings?
Garrett's last meeting was finalizing the Saddleback addition out near the golf course. Moving forward with that.
Auburn didn't have a meeting this month, but I'm not sure when the meeting was, when they discussed East Auburn Estates, and that was a packed, full house, standing room only from citizens, because it had been sort of advertised as could be trailers, could be modular, could be stick-built, and everybody was up in arms about that. And I think that the board president, who was also a member of the city council, did a really excellent job of moving that through and getting stipulations about, instead of having private roadways in there, they would agree to have it annexed, they would agree to city streets, they would agree that there would be no trailers. He did a lot of things that made it more palatable. So when they had their reading at the city council meeting, not one person showed up to make any comments about it, except for me, and I didn't make any comments. I just wanted to see what was going to go on. So he did a great job of that. And then there was no meeting this month.
Waterloo met on Monday. We were not able to secure the Okra grant on the third try. It seemed there was a lot of inconsistency in the way it was scored. So instead, we are proceeding with this. They're proceeding with a strategic plan. So instead of a full comprehensive plan, a strategic plan, scaled back, smaller scope, but still be able to address some of the concerns of the city and to do some planning. There'll be opportunities for public feedback. The redevelopment commission is agreed to fund that. So they should be proceeding, looking at tentatively a client kickoff, a kickoff starting in September and public workshop in October is sort of the.
Who's the contractor? Or
HWC?
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
So it's a $25,000, so it's scaled back, but still at least being able to address some of the issues and planning. So it would sort of be an amendment to the comprehensive plan, not necessarily changes to that, but at least being to update it instead of a broad comprehensive plan, it's more of a 5 to 10 year plan. Be able to continue to move forward.
And Chris, I think I've talked to the new town manager, Brittany Patrick, about reaching out to you on zoning issues.
Okay.
Older, you're kind of an expert at this stuff, so.
As one may say.
Hamilton is going to have a meeting later this month. Chris went over the Butler Comprehensive Plan. Andrew went over the permitting software. The mayor is still waiting on money for the Bon Aluminum plant, the grant money. They're still investigating the possibility of a hotel along US Highway 6 in and around Butler. And then they also want to expand the events at the Monster Truck Museum to coincide with possibly helping get a hotel in the area. So we'll see what that does. And that's it.
Thing, Ashley's dead.
Dead, still dead.
Still dead. No one calls me. I talk to them. They call me. If they're doing something, they're behind the county's back. It's too bad.
Is there any comments from anyone in the public on any matter?
Lynn Reinhardt, 4224 County Road 71. I guess I would just like to, and I know I've talked to a couple of you individually, but looking at the ETJ from St. Joe and the way that that was done, and the fact that they might have approved it in 2011 or 2014 or something, but over 10 years ago, and the fact that they haven't implemented a single step forward with that ETJ, that if the County Plan Commission isn't in agreement with that ETJ, if there's a possibility that you could pursue in any way that it wasn't in effect due to that lapse of time that they have not done anything with it. They haven't done any zoning maps for that ETJ. They haven't established a plan commission with members from the ETJ area or anything. So passed it on paper, waited 5 years, recorded it for some reason at that time. I've waited another 7 years, not done anything. They had to be aware that things were coming to the county. I think they said there were a list of 40 some items that the county had acted on between that time and today. I think precedent shows that DeKalb County Plan Commission has been, is, and should be responsible for that zoning unless they come forward with a new plan and go through the process of developing an interlocal agreement today. So don't know what any of the rest of your thoughts are on that, but just wanted to present that to the Plan Commission as a whole. Thank you.
Yeah, that was.
What we sent,
We did send a letter to, I believe it's Eric Weber, that's the attorney for
St. Joe.
for the town of St. Joe, requesting that they grandfather in all of those changes. That was the initial letter. That's kind of I would say that's a succinct summary of it, is we're requesting basically the grandfather everything in that's been decided.
well, and
But
partly,
we've gotten no response yet.
right, part of it was we wanted to have a legal opinion that their ETJ is valid.
Yes. I think we did say we're not
fighting that it's
agreeing
not
100%
valid.
that it's valid or invalid either way.
Right. But that they know now that things weren't done, and I don't believe it was in malice that it wasn't done. It's the town of St. Joe. It's a small town, and I don't believe it was in malice. So anyway, we're working on, Andrew sent that letter, and I'm still meeting with the town of St. Joe and working up, helping them work up language for boundaries. They still have a moratorium on areas that are within the ETJ area on zoning. But, I think they hope to have that completed by the end of the year. So I'm helping them with that, as I said at the last meeting, but the last big thing was we wanted to make sure that there was no case law or something that says you've sat on this for 10 years, as Lynn just said, so you lose your rights. There's nothing in Indiana code that says, it's a comprehensive plan that was done prior to 2009 or 2019.
Right,
I can't remember when it was.
time.
Prior to that time. So there's nothing that says they have no jurisdiction.
I'm not aware of any timeframes. That's not to say that, there's a couple of different, at least a couple of different major deadlines in legal issues. One is a statute of limitations. There could be a statute that says, hey, if you create an ETJ, you've got to do your zoning within so many months or so many years. There's nothing that I'm aware of that says that or that Chris is aware of. The other idea is more of excessive delay idea called latches. That's the fancy legal term for it. And that's kind of along the lines of, hey, did they wait too long to do this? I'm not aware of anything at this point. It would be, I think it would be helpful if the town of St. Joe was able to show for sure that they've got this all in place and it's legal after all this time frame and so forth, but.
Right, so I think the county's.
It's an
for lack of a
unusual
better-
situation.
Yeah, it's an unusual situation, and the county's hands are tied in a sense that the ETJ was established prior to July of 2019, which is that date that says you have to have an interlocal agreement. The only way to do an ETJ before that time was to put it in your comprehensive plan. It was in their comprehensive plan, so the county can't.
So they've got the ETJ.
So they've got the ETJ. The zoning.
The question is, what do you do with the zoning when
Right.
they never created any zoning?
Right, and nobody, until it appears the new town board and some new members of the town board brought it to my attention. I didn't even know about it. Obviously, as I've said before, I don't go and read all the town's comprehensive plans and make sure that they're in compliance with their own laws and regulations. So it's just something that got overlooked, and unfortunately, the county can't say, hope you've not done something for 10 years, we're taking it back.
And the other thing about cases or case law too is that much as we'd like to think that, like, the Indiana Supreme Court has made an opinion on almost every important issue out there, there are significant areas where if something doesn't happen very often, like if this is the only thing this has happened to, you know, in 20 years, then there's not going to be any appellate case that's gone up where somebody's disagreed with a local judge's decision on it and appealed it for an appellate court opinion.
Yeah.
So that leaves it still kind of certain things as open or gray areas at times. I'm not saying this is one of them, but that can happen too, is there's not a case that comes down on every legal point like we'd like it to be.
Is St. Joe incorporated?
Yes, the town is, obviously.
Okay, so do they have a town manager?
No. They have a city clerk, or town clerk, Angela Snyder, I believe is her name, and 3 town council members.
So the town council members are the ones who reinitiated the ETJ?
I don't know if I would say reinitiated is the term I'd use, but they
Dug it up, essentially.
they're the ones that realized
It
we
was
have
there.
an ETJ. Yes.
They brought it to light, I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
Am I remembering correctly from our last meeting, Mary had indicated that it was on file and recorded, and we were gonna validate that? Have we validated that?
Yes.
Okay.
You did. It did get recorded.
Prior to the July 1st, 2019 date.
So if they want to update their comprehensive plan, that would be the only way that we would have any input, discussion, whatever at all, correct?
Correct. Right. So what they're working on now is creating zoning districts that basically mirror what the counties are for the county, for the ETJ, and then also updating their zoning ordinance. So, a big undertaking for them that I'm helping them with, but yeah, they're taking that on.
So then how would that work into their comprehensive plan? Would that be like an amendment into it?
It's already in their comprehensive plan. The
I mean,
ETJ,
their zoning and stuff is what
zoning doesn't have, so the zoning would have to go through zoning amendments. So it would have to go through their plan commission and their town council.
So it's a big undertaking, but not big enough to be a rewrite of their plan.
No, because the boundaries are already there, are in the plan. They don't
Yeah,
have to have the zoning in the.
ETJ is all about the boundaries and not about the
Right.
zoning in it, in a sense.
Right, for the comp plan.
We don't control the
Okay.
zoning within the ETJ. We have input now on the size of new ETJs, potentially some input on that.
Yep.
But back then, when they did theirs, we didn't even have input on the size.
Right.
There's no other discussion. I would say we were adjourned.